Hi there, gang, and welcome to the OurStressFreeWedding.com podcast. No, wait, I'm sorry. Last show, I changed it, didn't I?
Yeah.
I changed. We're going to pretend to take two. Ready? Check this out. Hi there, gang. Welcome to the Our Stress Free Wedding TV show. There we go. It's our new show.
New show.
Commercial free because we don't have any sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor, you're certainly welcome to do so. But no, it's just simple. It's just us.
Yeah.
The other neat thing is that you can also find us at alterentertainment.cc. We are one of the largest DJ services here in the state of Iowa. And what our stressfreewedding.com is really focused on is finding you the right wedding professionals for your big day. That's what we do. That's what our focus is. And where we've taken it a step further, if you haven't watched any of the other shows so far, and you should, this is episode 11. We are deep into double digits.
Absolutely.
Deep in, I mean.
The ones.
Are there numbers higher than that?
I taught math, so I can assure you. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's taught being past tense.
Uh-huh.
But you know what we do talk about in every show. I've had too much caffeine already this morning.
Same.
That's all right. We're not. This is a different time for us. I like this. But what we talk about in every show is how important, when you're planning your big day, how important finding the right wedding pros is to making your day stress-free. You know, it's amazing. And if you're just getting engaged, if you're just in the planning process, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because the day you say yes, the day you get engaged, within sometimes hours, you know, if not days or weeks, you suddenly have to become an expert in planning, literally, the biggest day of your life. And one of the things that I've always found fascinating is more couples are more nervous about the reception than they are about the ceremony, which, if you think about it, is kind of backwards. Kind of. Because, I mean, the ceremony is the most important part.
It's what makes it official.
That's the reason everybody's there is actually the ceremony. But if you think about the ceremony, they tell you where to stand. They tell you what to say. They feed you one little line at a time.
Repeat after me.
Yeah, you
literally.
don't have to memorize anything. You get to practice it. It's it's quick, it's simple, it's done. Ta-da, you're married. And then there's the reception. And that's where you've got all of these moving parts. You've got the party bus as a possibility.
Yeah.
You've got your caterer. You've got the venue. You've got your photographer. You've got your videographer, which, by the way, if you didn't watch our last show, episode 10, that's when we broke into double digits.
We've made it.
Episode 10,
think.
Marathon Videography, our good buddy Jake. I thought it was a fascinating show just because it talks about, we talked about how much more goes into the video. You know, you get a little bit peek behind the curtain. You know, I mean, if you watch this show, you know how rough this is. We are miles from professional videographers on any stretch of the imagination. Jake uses 4 cameras on average,
4 or 5, and
for capturing different angles at the ceremony, capturing different angles at the reception. But to kind of go back to all of that with the reception, you've got all of these moving parts. There's all of these things. So what we've done at OurStressFreeWedding.com is we've taken it a step further than all of the other searches that you can find right now, either on a national level or in the state of Iowa. And what we've done with that is we have kind of made it by invitation only when it comes to wedding pros, I guess is the best way to put it, is we are researching everyone that you find on the platform. So if you go to OurStressFreeWedding.com and you go to our vendor page, our founding vendor page, or our wedding professional page, I think I've got a couple different ways to find it on there, and either just scroll down as you look at all of the different ones that are on there, and we're adding more each week. You know that everybody that we have found that's on that platform has been fully vetted. And by vetted, I mean we've had one-on-one conversations with them. We have done reviews on their services. In some cases, we've even spoken with previous clients. And in a lot of cases, which is awesome, we now have enough wedding pros on the platform. And again, we're adding more each time, but we now have enough that we can now cross-reference. So if we have somebody new that comes on, or that wants to come on, we can reach out to other professionals in their market across the state of Iowa. It's not just here in Little Cedar Falls. It's across the whole state. But we can reach out to other professionals that work with them and say, hey, Is this person worth actually pursuing? Should we allow them to be on the platform? And it's not because we're being elitist. We are looking out for your best interest. What our underlying goal is, and again, we're going to get a shirt, and it's going to be a gosh, I hope they don't suck factor.
Mine's going to say like and subscribe. It's going to happen.
Look, here's our look today. Here's how good we are today. Are either of us wearing branded clothing for our stress-free? No, neither of us.
I had a wedding last night and forgot my podcast clothes.
My clothes were dirty. I got nothing. And, banner day. This might be the first day. No hat for Sean.
Hey.
Do you see the shine off the lights?
Yeah.
Does it look good?
It's
blinding?
Yeah. It's blinding on me.
It's our fifth light. So, anyway, gosh, I hope they don't suck. That is what goes through most couples' mind when they look at somebody's Facebook page. Anybody can make a nice Facebook page. Anybody can make a nice website. It's very, very simple. But you don't know. You don't know that particular wedding pro's heart. You don't know who they are. And anybody can put on a nice face even at a wedding show.
Yeah.
For the 2 hours or 3 hours that wedding show's going on, it's really easy to act or say the right words to impress a couple for the minute that you get their attention while they're inundated with everybody else. So what we do on the platform is we get rid of as much as that as we can, and we've carried that over to our Stress-Free Wedding TV. That's here.
There you go.
See, you like how I buttoned it back up. And what we want to do with this show is we want to introduce you kind of one at a time to the wedding professionals that are on the platform. And I am so excited for today. I would like to welcome Alex from NOTA DJ Services. And I said it slow because otherwise I was going to say it wrong. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, guys.
It is such a pleasure. So Alex is from Sioux Center, Iowa, right?
That is correct.
So you are, 4 hours away from our little part of the world.
Yep.
You had a wedding last night in Cedar Rapids, just to show what kind of dedication you have to your craft. I mean, this is a hike for you, dude. I mean, it's a drive.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? Let's kind of skip around a little bit, but how did you end up in Cedar Rapids?
So I had two weddings scheduled, one for Friday, one for Saturday. Both of them, unfortunately, get canceled. And then Maria was looking for a DJ, and it happened that about 20 minutes after she contacted me, my Saturday wedding canceled on me. And then I contacted Maria and said, hey, I'm available. So she's like, yep, okay, let's do it. So
perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an amazing night last night. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the selfish part of me is like I'm just happy because we're able to actually sit down and meet in person because we had talked about getting together. I'm like, well, you're 4 hours that way and I'm 4 hours this way. That's a long drive. This is perfect.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you're actually here that we can sit down and talk because I know when you and I met just over the phone and just to kind of go back to what I had talking about, kind of pre-qualifying our vendors. You and I have a lot in common when it comes to experience. You've been doing this a while.
Yep, I actually started in 1999.
Yes.
I'm originally from El Salvador. So back in the days when I was going to college, I used to go a lot of nightclubs and just party, the college life,
Mm-hmm.
And I got to meet a lot of people and then went to a nightclub one time and then I saw the power of one person that had over a huge crowd. And I'm like, I love this. I love the power. I love, knowing that I'm making other people have fun.
You're the reason for the party. I got into DJing really a lot of that and free beer in my college days.
I didn't want to have to be the one out there dancing. I can't dance.
I can't dance.
So I'll sit behind and just do the Jersey Shore fist pump and be like, I got to be here. Sorry.
But by power, it's not I've got the power of the crowd. It's you've got the power to create this amazing night for people.
Yes. Like on Facebook, I've seen this picture says, the power of one person that has over a crowd that with one song you can create feeling, you can create a moment for people to remember, and that's kind of like drives me to always do the best for my couples. I take the time to meet with them to talk about their likes, dislikes, and then I incorporate all that into the night. So last night was clear example. They were a huge Dungeons and Dragons lovers, Chicago house music, bilingual. So it was absolutely amazing night. So I had a great night last night.
So you tailor your delivery to what your clients are looking for.
Yes.
You know, it is their night, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're there as kind of the conduit to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I warned you. You know, I gave you the little script of kind of how we do things, and we're not even close to being in order. So, but let's continue on that. So, in the planning process with a couple, you know, how often do you talk with them? How accessible are you to someone that's planning their big day?
I'm very accessible. They can contact me via Facebook, text message, emails. They can call me, and we talk about a lot of different little things. I like to meet with them, make sure that I know what they want, their vision, and I start incorporating all that into their night. From like, okay, what songs do you listen to when you're in your car? If you go to a party, what kind of the songs are the ones that make you get up and then go dance? And then I ask them about their guests, the age, you know, nationality, what part of the United States are they from? You know, if they're Iowa, Minnesota, you know, for example, Chicago in this case. And I try to incorporate all that, you know, playing always the bangers, you know,
right?
They always go to songs, but I always like to add the little spice.
Sure.
You know, because like when I was talking when I started in a nightclub, so I learned how to mix, you know, by key, by BPM. So I love to do all that during the weddings. I'm not your typical DJ that plays one song and then fades the other one in. I love to mix. And most of my night, I just mix. It doesn't matter what it is, what kind of genre it is. I even mix rock, you know,
nice.
Last night I mixed rock into some merengue, and I'm like, that sounds really good. So I might try it later. So.
Save that one for down the road. Yep. So
Yep.
you started in '99. Did you start on vinyl or on CD?
CDs.
Okay. Like the old, the Pioneer. The first ones you could mix on CD, though, those giant Pioneer decks, and they were expensive as hell, and they were good for about every 6 weeks, and then they would break down.
Yep. And don't bump the table.
Oh man,
Skipped worse than records. They were terrible. I'll never forget. Like the first bar that I worked in as a DJ was all vinyl. You know, I started in '88, so I got another 10 years on you. Oh, God. Why does that always come up? I'm new. I just started. I'm a new DJ.
keep going, Grandpa Sean.
I'm young and cool. I'm young and relevant. I'm not. I did this on purpose. But I'll never forget one of the funniest moments. So on vinyl, right? I had the two turntables, and the DJ booth was in set in a corner, and then the dance floor was to my right, and there was a rail that went out from the end of the DJ booth, kind of along the side of the dance floor, and then there was seating in there, and people would always kind of just sit on the rail and then jump in. If they're they take a break from dancing, they'd lean on the rail or sit on the rail or whatever it was. So AC/DC shook you all night long. I'd come out of a slow set and I hit it with that, and I played it from the beginning, so you get that first big the big guitar chord, and then it kicks in. So there was a person sitting on the rail, and the first big note hits, and they scream and they jump onto the dance floor, and they landed right kind of by the corner of the DJ booth. And that's the turntable that was playing at the time. When they hit the ground, the arm on the record player went straight up. So you hit that, boom, and then dead air. And then it fell right back down and stayed in that same spot. And the song continued on from there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it looked like I knew what I was doing. It looked super cool.
I did that.
Totally
I did that.
did
That was all me.
There'd be times when I'd be at a club, I'd play All I Do Was Win.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's hands go up, and then I just hit pause, and everyone's just like... And sometimes I'd end the night on that. Go up. Good night, everybody. They're like, no.
This is what happens when you get 3 DJs in a room.
We're just
I'm
gonna
tell you that right
talk
now.
stories and talk
we just
shop
throw
and-
the script out the door, and we're just gonna tell club and wedding stories. But, I think though, starting as a club DJ really goes a long way to making you a stronger wedding DJ. Because, at a bar, you've got a wide variety of people. You've got, and depending on the bar that you work at, you can get, you can get a giant group of everything, or you can have, some bars are kind of more zeroed in, like, the college kids, or, more blue collar, or more country, or, so it gives you the ability as a DJ to kind of know to play to your different crowds in the bar. And then when you get to the wedding, all of those people, that's what I meant to say. I sent that backwards. So all of those people that would have been in each individual bar are all together in one place at a wedding. So now you've got a great, just kind of muscle memory almost to pull from all of these different experiences in one place. Because at every wedding, you have always got, like you had mentioned, people from out of state, possibly out of country, different ages, different tastes. You've got such a wide spectrum of music that you can pull from. And the bride wants everybody to have fun.
Yep.
Most of the brides are like, yeah, just play music that people will dance to. That's always your favorite.
Yes.
Just play something good.
Something that people can dance to.
Okay.
Okay, you can dance to anything.
So when did you transition from club to wedding? What kind of attracted you in that direction?
So I moved to the States back in 2000.
Okay.
And a friend of mine was doing a little bit of the mobile DJ and more geared towards Hispanics. So given that in El Salvador, they only speak Spanish, when I moved to the States, it was an easy transition for me to learn the different genres that I was not accustomed to, like mainly Mexican music. And that's one of the biggest things that I like to joke about when somebody say, hey, I'm not saying, I'm saying this with all respect to you guys, Caucasian DJ say, hey, I have a bilingual wedding, I'm going to go do it. I'm like, dude, don't even touch it. Stay away from it.
What? I know the song La Bamba. Come on.
I mean, just because you know how to play Despacito does
I
not mean.
I know that one.
Does not mean that you.
I dated myself again, didn't I?
Yeah.
Damn it. Ah.
No, but like in Mexico, for example, you have a lot of different states. Like people from Campeche to the DF, the Distrito Federal, they listen to a completely different type of music. And then if you go a little bit further out, you talk to somebody from Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, even the Caribbean, even people from Puerto Rico don't listen to the same music that the Dominican Republic people listen to. Cubans, completely different.
So you've got an even wider experience into like styles and genres, because you're talking about playing music in a whole nother part of the world. I mean, I can say I started in Wisconsin. Alex is like, oh yeah,
And then you say, oh, yeah, oh, sure.
oh yeah, Wisconsin, and then Minnesota, and then I ended up down here in Iowa. So I am well traveled in a roughly 250-mile radius.
Mr. Worldwide.
I got that, Mr. Worldwide. Wee! I love Pitbull. But I think that is amazing. So your background comes from more of an international flavor, kind of in the Latin world, from different countries where there's different styles and different tastes of music within that. And of course, us, idiots, kind of natural born here in the U.S. We're all like, oh, it's all Mexican music, right?
Yep.
What you're saying is that there is such a wider spectrum of music that you learn from, and then you come to the States and you continue to build your knowledge more on kind of traditional American style music.
Yep. And all that was because of my wife. So I met my wife in 2005, I think. Sorry, babe.
We can dub that in later.
That's all right. They're just going to completely overtrack it. We're guys. Come on. We're lucky we remember what day it is.
So it was amazing enough that, she and I share a lot of different things. And to the point that she actually was DJing, she had a DJ company before I met her. So that's how I got introduced to the Caucasian way, to the American way.
So she's Caucasian.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. I always joke with her that she's as white as it can get. She even glows at the night. You know, we don't need a night light. I'm just kidding.
So right now, just if you're keeping score at home, Alex isn't sure on his wedding date.
No, I know my wedding date.
Or, okay,
I know my wedding
year,
date.
and he's ripping on his wife. Dude, you're gonna have a very dangerous drive home today.
I know.
Maybe
It's okay. This doesn't air for a few weeks,
Okay,
so you got
awesome.
plenty of time to smooth it out.
Perfect.
or just say the show got canceled.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't even show it to her.
So she was a DJ too.
Yeah. She had a company, and we just start talking shop, and then she's like, yeah, maybe you can start doing this and stuff. So I started DJing a little bit of weddings, a little bit of American, just Caucasian events, and starting to learn a little bit. And then a friend of mine, she told me, hey, I love how you mix everything. Why don't you just start making it a little bit bigger? And then just start, jump in. And then we got pregnant, and then we had to put everything on stop. And then in 2013, we started with the new name with NOTA DJ Services.
So you had mentioned before the show that there is kind of a story behind, because when you read it, you think NOTA, NOTA DJ.
Yep.
Well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
Well,
so
but,
it's, explain that. Explain. It's NOTA. It's NOTA DJ Service.
NOTA, but it is a play on words. No, we are not a DJ services. We're more than that. We are an entertainment service where we help with everything. We're not the typical DJ that just hits play, and that's it. No,
Yes.
we get involved with everything from dismissing tables, from even busting tables. We have done that in the past. We want to give a really good experience to our couples, from playing what the songs that they want to making sure that they just sit back, relax, and enjoy their day. And that's where we come in, from all the different services that we provide. We want to give them that peace of mind and let them know that we're not there just to play music. Right. We're there to help them celebrate. It doesn't matter if that means that we have to mop floors, we'll do it because that's our job. We're not about anything. We are there for them, and we are there to make sure that they have the best night of their lives so far. So
I love that. And I remember, I think it was shortly after you and I talked, because we had a very similar conversation when I invited you to be on our stressfreewedding.com. I told Andrew about it. I'm like, dude, I found a guy that's a doppelganger of us just 4 hours away, because that's what makes the difference, though. There's it's so easy for so many DJs in the wedding business, and this is something that professionals like yourself and like what we do, you're almost fighting against that, because there's so many that I'll do it for $200 in beer, and they are going to literally show up and just hit play. I remember I went to a wedding as a guest. This was a number of years ago. My cousin got married up in Wisconsin. And it was too far for me to send any of my guys, so we went to the wedding, and the DJ shows up, and he's in a Led Zeppelin T-shirt and jeans, and I thought, okay, he's setting up, it's before the reception, he's obviously going to change, that was my thought. No, stayed in the Led Zeppelin T-shirt and jeans, and he never stood up. Never engaged the crowd. He sat behind his equipment, and he had a little mic stand on the table next to him, and forgot the groom's name. Had no notes, had no information. God. I mean, this was literally the kind of guy, kind of DJ that literally shows up, it's play. Cool, people are going to dance, and they get paid for it. And then, the guests see that, and, the way that we approach things, and I'm sure it's the same thing for you, every guest at every wedding you do is a potential new client.
Yep.
You know, and so it's not just the bride and groom. Like when I've had, plenty of groom, it's usually the groom, throughout the years come up and they'll, a beer in their hand or a shot, hey, dude, have some drinks with us. And I always thank them. And I'm like, it's okay because you're telling me it's okay. I know it's okay because you're telling me it's okay. But your guests, all they're going to see is, why is that DJ drinking on the job? So, we don't do that, But going over and above so much more what you do. I mean, think about just all the things you just listed off that have nothing to do with DJing. That you're willing to clear tables, you're willing to clean off the floors. Everything you can do to help that couple do nothing more than just be there and enjoy the moment.
Yep.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and one of the biggest thing that I like that I love about being part of that is the, like, for example, when we dismiss tables. I usually go in and visit with all the guests. That's my time for me to say, hey, guys, welcome to so-and-so's wedding. Are you guys ready to eat? If you guys have any songs that you would like to listen to, please let me know. And I start engaging with them, and play a little bit of jokes on them. Like, hey, by the way, this is the last table that I'm going to dismiss tonight, unless, I take bribes and stuff. But,
I can be bought.
Yeah. But no, I always like to interact with them that way. This way make you feel human. It's like, okay, oh, this guy's not a hole. He's gonna be a good guy tonight. So even with the other vendors, like I create a timeline that I like to go through on the night. Then I go and talk to the other vendors and say, hey, by the way, I talked to our couple. This is what they want. This is their vision. This is the timeline. You guys, please sit back, relax. When we're ready to take pictures, when we're ready for speeches, when we are ready for something, I will come and let you know. Mm-hmm. So sit back, relax. I got this. This is my show now. Let me take care of it. And then some other vendors, they're like, what? Excuse me? It's very easy for me to record speeches, especially even when we have a videographer. I always tell them, like, hey, dude, or girl, don't worry about putting an extra mic in front of their faces. I will record it from my system. It will be a clean recording. I will even clean it up for you. I'll email it to you. Give me your email.
That's
so that
awesome.
way you don't have to worry about it. And I will say probably half of the time the videographers, they're like, are you nuts?
Well, yeah. I have honestly, I have never heard of a DJ that offers that as just kind of oh, by the way, I can record it for you. Yeah. That's awesome. That's huge. And it really, getting that clean capture, especially for speeches or even for their ceremony, I would assume if you can record one, you record the other. Even if they don't have a professional there for that, you can send them just the audio so they've got that as a memory of it.
Yep. And that's something that I have heard a lot of DJs is they're like, oh, hell no, I'm not letting a videographer tap into my system. Like, you're working for a couple. Right. You're working for them. And that's my take. That's the way I do things. I have two other guys that work for me too. And I always stress that with them. Hey, we're there for the couple. Mm-hmm. If the photographer, videographer need anything, make sure that you work with them. Because that's our ultimate goal, the
DJ is in my opinion, we're kind of the central communication hub of the couple's reception. It's our job to, like you had mentioned, having that timeline of events, knowing when dinner is going to be. So it's going to be our job to let the guests know, hey, it's time to sit down, because we're the ones with the microphones. Yep. So it's time to sit down for dinner, and then it's our job to help dismiss tables if they need us to dismiss tables. It's our job to set up the toast. It's our job to set up first dance, parents dances, kind of all of those moments. And in order to do that effectively and efficiently, you have to coordinate with all of the other professionals that are there. So, coming in and there's multiple ways to do that. And one of the neat things that we've built in to the platform at ourstressfreewedding.com is a communication hub that not only allows the couples to interact with each individual vendor that they find on the platform, but it also allows the vendors, each wedding professional, to communicate with each other in advance too. So as the platform kind of gains more and more momentum and we have more and more couples using the tools that are on there, you will be able to communicate with the photographer, with the venue, with the caterer in advance through that platform to make things even easier for the couple, even before the big day happens. And it all comes down to peace of mind for them and even for the vendors. Because I think a well-informed wedding professional, photographer, videographer, DJ, caterer, if everybody's well-informed with what's going on, it's a better event for everyone because everyone's a little bit more relaxed.
Yep.
You're not worrying about when's this going to happen or what's this going to happen. You're stepping in and kind of putting all that in line and helping it be even easier for them.
And that's kind of like our goal. There's so much work behind the scenes. The reception time is the easiest time for us because that's when we're putting in place the game plan. That's when we're executing it. But all the hours behind making sure that the right songs, make sure that the right names and the timelines and contacting. I even contact some officiants to make sure that I know what kind of microphones they want and all those little details that, like what you were saying, like that your $200 DJ is not going to do,
Right.
That's going to show up and then hope for the best,
Right.
And that's a huge no in my book because for us is the wedding day is one of the most important days in a girl's life.
Right.
And guys, it is an important day, but it's not as important as the girls, and we want to make sure that day is as perfect as possible, and it doesn't matter what we need to do, we will do it. So
that is so cool, and you're so right. When it comes to the difference in most cases between like brides and grooms is it's been my experience that the bride in particular has been thinking about her wedding day both actively since she's been engaged, of course, every day, but even going back further. I can remember my little sister who's 3 years younger than me playing wedding with she would steal like my Star Wars figures, and Luke would get married off to
Chewy.
Penthouse Bar. Now that's just weird. No, but maybe Penthouse Barbie at least. I mean, there was a little size differential, but that was Chewy. You're not a Star Wars fan, are you?
No,
Ooh.
no. I can honestly say I have never seen a Star Wars
Wait, what?
movie.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I have never seen an entire Star Wars movie.
I don't think your mic's working. Say that one more time.
always fall asleep.
We're gonna cut to commercial here.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, remember when Alex was on the show? Yeah. Really nice guy. Really good guy.
Well, that's a good show for today.
Then,
Thanks,
yeah,
everyone.
that's a wrap. All right, cool. You've never.
No, never. Yeah, someday.
So I'm gonna forgive you only because my wife I only watches them under duress. Like she has never once said we should watch a Star Wars movie. it's more, oh, Sean, that's what we're watching tonight.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay, and gets out the phone, and that's the whole thing. Hey, you're watching right now the Our Stress Free Wedding TV show, and we certainly appreciate that. If you like what you see, what should you do, Andrew?
Like and subscribe.
Exactly. We're sure it's coming. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. It keeps you informed with what's happening, and what we're constantly doing is we are looking for more and more wedding professionals that make your day as absolutely stress-free as possible. That's what the entire platform is about. And that's what this show is about, is it gives you an opportunity to see beyond the Facebook page, see beyond the website, to actually get to know the heart of the people behind the microphone. For example, in this case, with Alex from NOTA DJ Services out of Sioux Center, Iowa, which is just awesome. You've got a little over 20 years experience. I think that's incredible. So what is your, like when you had mentioned that you're available to couples at any time. I had a bride last week call me in a panic because she had a dream about her grand entrance that it went horribly wrong. And so she called me the next day. She's like, tell me it's going to okay. Do you have like a system in place? Like kind of from booking through the big day. Do you have like the various meetings scheduled, or is it just kind of at need when they need questions, or what do you do?
So once they book us, we just start a small conversation, and then about 2 to 3 weeks before their big day, we meet with them. But prior to that, we ask them to complete our worksheet where we ask all the boring questions. Names, what time the ceremony is gonna start, all those boring questions per se.
The standards.
Yeah, the standards.
Yep.
So, and then once we meet with them, we talk about, okay, hey, where's the ceremony? Are we recording the ceremony for you? If we are not, what's your plan after the ceremony? When are you gonna do the grand entrance? When do you want to do the grand entrance? Mm-hmm. And then we talk about all the little details, like, okay, well, have you talked to your caterer when dinner is gonna be ready? So sometimes they're like, well, we don't know. Okay, let's work it backwards. What time is dinner? And then from that we plan the grand entrance and all that. So meetings usually last between half an hour to 45 minutes.
Sure.
Just to talk about the little details. And then once we got all that, we just let them know, hey, we're going to be there about an hour, 2 hours before the ceremony starts, make sure that everything's ready, do sound checks and everything. And then if something comes up between now and then, just let us know. And I have had some couples that same thing, what happened to you, like, hey, I'm just freaking out. What are we doing? Can you, okay, here's the timeline. We got you.
We got you.
Just relax. Okay.
Yeah, and it's something that you brought up, which I liked, where you talked about walking back kind of their timeline, because you talk to some couples and they're like, well, we know dinner's at 6 and we have no idea, when to do grand entrances. We have no idea when to do cake cutting, when to do toast. And the funny thing is that they do know if you kind of help walk them back through the process. If you say, okay, if your dinner's at 6, then your guests are probably arriving about 5. Ish. My favorite word to use in planning weddings is ish. That's the other shirt we're gonna get. So I'm gonna have one that says, "Gosh, I hope they don't suck." You're gonna have one that says, "Like and subscribe," and we're gonna make our guests wear ish. Just across the front, ish, and just make people ask about it. But those 3 letters have magical powers at 2 key points in the planning process. In the very beginning of the planning process, where they don't know really any definitive times. They're still trying to figure that kind of stuff out. And that's where ish comes into big time. If they say, well, we're thinking dinner 6-ish. Okay, well, typically that means is that your guests will arrive about 5, or if you're having your ceremony in that same place, ceremony's about 5, which means guests will arrive about 4:30-ish. So, we can kind of put that soft number around it. And if you walk them back like that, and all of a sudden they see, oh, that grand entrance fits perfectly right into there. They don't know because they're not supposed to know.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that's so crucial when you're planning your big day is working with the right professionals, because we know what that timeline is going to look like, and it's our job to help you walk through that timeline. And of course, the kind of tag that you can put to that is all of that can be thrown out the window, because rule number 1 is what the bride wants, the bride gets.
Yes.
Right? So if you talk to their timeline 6 months before their big day and you get it all set up, everything's perfect. We're gonna do grand entrance, we're gonna do cake cutting, we're gonna do dinner, we're going to do toast, we're going to do first dance. And then the day of, bride's like, I want to do the first dance right after the grand entrance. There is not a person on my staff, and I would be willing to bet you would do the same thing, that's going to say, oh no, we said 6 months ago that you're going to do that after dinner. You can't have your way on your wedding day, right? I mean, you're going to roll with whatever new thing they throw at you last minute if that comes up.
Absolutely.
That's where that ish factor comes back into play, is that you've got your timeline, but on the day of, there's 2 kinds of timelines in the world on a wedding day. There's the time you write down, which is great. And then there's actual wedding time, which usually doesn't line up quite the same. So you get that kind of ish factor. Yeah. But having especially the right DJ, someone that's got the kind of attitude that Alex has been explaining here during the show, being willing to go above and beyond just pushing play, being there as part of their day, being kind of their event coordinator, really, to help them, or at least day of coordinator, to help them have really their only responsibility be show up, enjoy yourself. I got the rest of it.
That's
right.
one of the biggest things that stood out is when you said, I got this, and any good DJ is going to have that in their pocket, hey, we want to move cake cutting from after the grand entrance to before toast. I got this. We need someone to dismiss tables. I got this. Hey, we're going to take sunset photos. Hey, you go do that. I got this.
Yeah. And that's massive. I mean, that makes such a big difference.
And the other big thing too that we always like to ask, like for the other vendors. For example, we know that photographers have their very cut up timeline.
Right. They're usually pretty solid.
Yep.
Them and the caterers have to be pretty hard on some of their timelines.
So that's the other question that we ask. Like, hey, what time is your photographer leaving or your videographer leaving? And some couples ask me why. I'm like, because I want to know what you want them to capture before they leave. Because what I don't want you to have is okay, we're gonna be doing the dances like 15 minutes before the photographer leaves in some cases. And what if something happened? And then this way I can push the timeline a little bit and say, if they tell me I want them to capture this. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to make sure that that they're here at this time, that we do this before the photographer leaves.
So and again, that ish factor, if you have to pivot, if you've got first dances scheduled at 7:30, but the photographer is scheduled to leave at 7, you're going to want to adjust things so those images get captured. I mean, those are important moments. That first dance, the father-daughter dance. Those big photo moments are huge to have the photographer there for. So it's so important for the DJ to coordinate with the key, the videographer, the photographers in particular, in this moment, so the bride doesn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my photographer's leaving at 7, first dance is at 7:30, everything's ruined. No, because as Alex said, we got you. And getting that across to the couples, having them understand that and trust you for that is so big. And it sounds like the level of communication that you have with them puts their mind at ease even that much more. And I think that's huge. If they go in relaxed, knowing that you've got this, they've got nothing to worry about.
And that's one of the biggest things that I tell them too is like, okay, even though we talk about timelines, don't worry about it. This is just for my own sake, just to. So I have a little bit of structure for myself. But other than that, I even told them, if you even want to change your first dance, just let me know about 5 minutes before we're going to do that. So that way it gives me enough time to download it, buy it, get it ready, or whatever I need to do. So that way I can cater to you. So I just need just a little bit of prep time. Other than that, we're good. We're solid.
So true. Absolutely so true. That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about I know the technical side, but I love, and we've been having that slideshow run throughout there, and there's a couple times where it really shows off your equipment just beautifully. The speakers you use, the columns you use with the lights. Let's talk about some of the different options that your clients have to choose from. What all do you offer to them?
So our setups look the same. They will get a TV if at all possible. Sometimes we don't have the capability or the venue does not allow it because of where we're going to be setting up. But no, the looks are the same. But the other services that we provide or that we offer are the sound for the ceremony, uplighting, monogram. We are doing love story videos. We are incorporating Dancing on the Clouds and the Cold Spark machines, which I've been dying to try them. We just got them.
I'm the same way. We've had them for a little bit, and I haven't introduced them to our our clients yet because I've been playing with them.
I haven't even unpacked mine. I have mine. I'm like, I just want to pull them out, but I've been very, very busy lately.
Honest to God, dude, I almost this crossed my mind, and it's funny that you mentioned that. Just in celebration of you being, the odds of us being able to actually get together face to face was pretty slim. Being that being as you're on the other side of the state, I was going to set up our cold spark machines behind you, and hey, Alex is here all the way from Sioux Center, and have them go off behind you.
Funny.
So you've got a good variety, and consistency is huge. Like you had mentioned, all of your systems come consistent, and I think that's massive too. From I guess from a technical DJ side, as a multi-operational system, and it's the same thing with Ultimate Entertainment. It's if you see one of our shows, that at your wedding, you're going to get that same caliber, same quality of equipment.
Yep.
And it's important, because you said you've got a couple other guys that work for you, so you've got the ability to do multiple receptions on any given night. And again, it goes back to, there are those DJs out there that have their one really good system. This is the system, the people that spend the extra money for.
Yep. And
then they've got all of their crap systems that kind of go out on top of that.
Not to the lesser DJs, but, just the one that they're not seek out too much. That's one thing that I've seen with some multi-ops. But right now, Craig and Dave those are my two guys, amazing guys. They have the same system, similar system. I am using the EV, the 50s, and then they are using the RCFs.
He's talking about speakers, by the way. Those really pretty column speakers that I know it's tech talk stuff.
Yeah.
But, the new trend of it. We were talking about this before the show because we've just at Ultimate Entertainment switched over to the EVs, and it's instead of having your speaker up on a stand hanging over everybody's head, now there's self-contained column units with a nice sub built into them, and then the center tower for your mids and your highs. They're very clean.
Mm-hmm.
They're
they got
so
some sound
pretty.
to them.
And they've got some kick to them.
They got some boom. And,
Yep. I love them. And, from a safety standpoint, they are so much safer than having, big, heavy speakers up in the air. Mm-hmm. They're so much easier transport-wise as a mobile DJ. And that's one of the things I like about your setup is it reminds me a lot of what we do. We don't use the columns like you have for the lighting, which I think is really pretty. But I'm a big believer in the term mobile DJ. It should not take a mobile DJ hours to set up, or even worse, hours to break down. I mean, if you go to your average wedding reception, like a VFW or a place like that where they've got more volunteer staff than full-time staff, or even like last night you were at a Touch of Class in Cedar Rapids. They're part of our Stress-Free Wedding as well. If you had something that took you 3 hours to break down, some poor person on staff at Touch of Class would have to sit there while you break all your crap down. And that's not a mobile DJ.
Nope. We usually are in and out in about 45 minutes.
That's awesome. Yep.
Half an hour. Turning down is so much easier because, I'm just throwing everything on my totes. Okay, let's get out of here. But, setting up is more like, okay, I want to make it look pretty. I want to make sure that my chords are not showing and anything like that. And that's one of the biggest things for me. Like chords. I hate chords. And I like my system to be part of the core instead of being, sticking out like a sore thumb. I just want to make sure that I mix within their decor, and I'm not like, ooh, what is that? I'm like, oh my god.
Right. No, you want it clean,
yes.
And
elegant.
I guess elegant. That yes, and the new generation of speakers in particular really kind of helped give it that elegant look to it. I mean, I remember a DJ I saw, and I don't know, I very highly doubt they're still in business, but this was years ago. They had trusses that took up 3 full sides of the dance floor.
Wow.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was just, it took them hours to set up and hours to break down. He basically brought a nightclub rigging to every wedding. And this is just my opinion, but a DJ that needs to sell you on his really cool lights is not the DJ you want. Because if I need really cool lights to get people out on my dance floor, I'm not doing my job. A good DJ can read not only the dance floor, but read the room.
Yep.
You get those DJs that focus in on, let's say you've got 200 people at the reception and you're playing hip hop, club music, and you've got 50 people dancing. That's a lot of people dancing. That's a full dance floor. Right? So the DJ thinks, ooh, I'm doing a great job. And they keep playing that style of music because he's got a full dance floor, forgetting that there are 150 other guests wondering when you're going to play oldies, country, 90, anything other than club music. So, bringing all this gear and focusing in on just that one thing is not the direction you want to go, kind of going back to the beginning of our conversation where you've got such a wide spectrum of people at every reception.
Yep. And you have to know your crowd. You have to know, the people around you. It comes with the homework that you have to do before. And it's not like, okay, I'm just gonna go and do this and hope for the best.
Hope it goes.
But no, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. But no, the other service that I forgot to mention is that we do have a photo booth as well.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. Last night we had a photo booth. One of the proms that we were doing last night. My wife was running it, and she's like, "Oh my God, this was one of the best photo booths because there was nonstop. People just, all the kids, and she's like, I cannot wait for you to see the pictures. So we'll be posting the pictures here. Hopefully, by the time that this airs, we will have all the pictures up, so you can go to our Facebook page and take a look at them. So.
And you can find Alex's Facebook page and website, of course, through ourstressfreewedding.com. You can see his listing on there. Real easy way to find him. You just scroll down just a little bit on the vendor page, and there is a keyword search. Type in NOTA. Yep. I guarantee you he's the only one on the platform that has that name. It's very unique. It's very awesome. Great way to find him through there. So what is your favorite moment? Let's we got all the tech stuff out of the way. So let's talk about just kind of let's get mushy. Okay. Favorite wedding moment. What is your favorite moment at a wedding reception?
At a wedding reception will be, besides their first dance, father-daughter dance.
Yeah.
I have an 11-year-old, and I can tell you that I will say probably 9 out of 10 times that I'm doing father-daughter dance, I have to look away because it's just I just picture myself with my little girl dancing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to look away. So
honestly, that's beautiful though. I like we were talking before the show about that. I'm so jealous. I've got all boys. I'm never going to get to do that. I am going to, just to embarrass the hell out of Kobe when he gets married. my youngest, my 20-year-old, when he gets married, we're going to do a daddy son dance.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
going to make him. Even though he's stronger than me, he can throw me around like a rag doll. I'm going to make him. Remember who paid for all your stuff growing up? Yeah. Time for a dance. Bring it in.
It turns into a wrestling match or something out there.
Kobe, it probably would. I think that it's true, though. I love that. Like my favorite moment is their first dance. Mm-hmm. I love the first dance, and it would be the father-daughter dance, but I'm a jealous, petty person, and since I never get to enjoy that part, I think it's so sweet. Mm-hmm. It's so cool, and I've seen especially like the father-daughter dances. I have seen so many of them that make it special. Here's something that I'm sure you get the same question from brides all the time. The book says, or the guides say, these are the big father-daughter dances of the season. Which one of these should I pick? None of them. Yeah. Find one that speaks to you. If you and your dad grew up, for example, a good father would raise their daughter on Star Wars.
Maybe.
Alex. So, but if there's a movie that like your youngest is 11, so she's probably getting to the age where she's too cool to watch mushy movies with dad.
Yep.
But think of back when she was little, and you guys would watch Finding Nemo or Moana, or if she had one of those kind of favorite movies, something like that. that can be your father-daughter dance. Find a dance that speaks to your relationship, that speaks to you, that makes it a moment. And if you can't think of any, that's okay. You can ask any of us in the wedding business, any of the DJs, especially any of the DJs on the platform. We will give you a list, of songs that are very beautiful, very sweet, very memory invoking. And there's even songs that you can kind of say, well, if you've had this kind of relationship with your dad, maybe you should look at these songs, or this kind of relationship, and maybe you should look at these songs. And there's different choices that you can build from there. If you need input, of course, you're going to help them out. But finding the song that speaks to them.
Yep. And we have even done like, for example, Butterfly Kisses.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's a song that I cannot listen completely without choking up. I have
You're
to say
a big
that. Yeah.
softie,
I know.
Yep.
So one thing that we have created is that we cut off the part where it talks about, okay, now you're turning 15 and all that. So we go from, okay, you're my little girl, now I'm giving you away. So we cut out the whole middle part to make it more geared towards a wedding.
Oh, okay.
And we have that available. We have done a lot of different mixes for brides. Like started like slow song, and then we go into like the special dance, the surprise dance. So that's the other cool thing that we have seen with father-daughters. But no, to your point, just reach out to your DJ, reach out to any of the vendors and ask for ideas, because we are there for you.
Yes.
And that's one thing that a lot of people, or a lot of vendors forget, that the end goal is to make sure that your day, the key word, your day, is what you want. Like in our setup, you're not gonna see any type of advertising. You're not gonna see any type of banners or anything like that. The only 2 times that we mention our names is once we open the dance floor, and at the end of the night we say, "Hey, I'm Alex with NOTA DJ Services. Thank you for having us. Have a good night." That's it.
Right. And you shouldn't need to, and you've seen the same thing. The DJs that have their banners everywhere, their promotion stuff everywhere. If you do a good job at a wedding reception, you don't need that, because people are going to find you.
Yep.
People are going to remember, and you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've had the conversations with. I saw you at a wedding 5 years ago, or I saw you at a wedding 10 years ago, or you did my friend's cousin's best friend's roommate's wedding 12 years ago. That is what speaks to your excellence in this field. Yep. That people remember not only having fun, but they remember the guy that kind of helped make them, going back, like you said, that kind of having that control of their entertainment at the beginning of the night. The DJ is going to make or break the night. And if you have someone that remembers you years later, hey, you did my my sister's wedding 10 years ago, or my best friend's wedding 10 years ago, that's, to me, that's the biggest compliment, as a DJ.
Yeah, I had a set of sisters. And the first sister got married before they found me. So because the second sister wanted the first DJ, but the first DJ was not available, so they contacted me. So I DJed the second sisters. And then after that, the third sister came up, and she's like, "I need you. I want you. You will be at my wedding."
You will be. I always love that. You will be at my wedding.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, yes, absolutely. So we actually had the last wedding a couple weeks ago, and the first sister came over, and she's like, "I'm so jealous. Can we redo it?" I'm like, absolutely. And then father of the bride came over, and he said to me, I'm like, "If she wants to get remarried, she will pay for it. I am done paying for weddings." I'm like, "I give you a discount." I'm like,
I couldn't imagine paying 3 daughters.
Yeah.
Start giving out punch cards.
Yeah, definitely. But no, we have had a lot of families like that.
But think of the impact. I mean, people are going to look back on, and I tell this to, like, my staff all the time, the UE crew all the time, is that, and even I even tell couples, you're not going to remember, like I've been married 17 years. ask me what color my bridesmaids' dresses were. My wife's bridesmaids' dresses.
Yeah. Who the caterer was? What do you have for dinner that day?
I think chicken.
You think?
I think honestly, I don't know. You know, and that's it's not because I'm an idiot, although I own that. But it's because you remember the big things, and you'll obviously hopefully remember saying I do. That's important. Yep. But you're going to remember whether or not you had a good time. And that's really the biggest part. Your photographers are going to capture those moments for you, which is great. The videographer, like Jake had mentioned last week, I thought this was a great thing to hear from a videographer from Marathon Videography out of Charles City, is that they capture the story.
Yeah.
So you can go back and you can watch and you can relive the whole story. But without those two visual aids, you're going to remember whether or not you had a good time. And that falls on the DJ's shoulders every time.
Every time.
It's our job. If you showed up one night and you're like, yep, tonight is polka and waltz night.
Let's go.
That's the way it's going to be. Weird Al, Weird Al for everybody. Well, actually, I know some people that Weird Al will think that'd be an awesome idea. But if you did that, if you just kind of nuked the bride's playlist and requests and ideas, and you did nothing but one style of music, and you hammered that all night long, you would destroy that wedding, and not in the wow, they destroyed that wedding. I mean, you would destroy that wedding.
Yep.
You
really killed it.
Yeah,
literally.
But I've used it as an example for forever. This is something actually when I hire a new DJ, I tell them I'm gonna give you the same sentence, exact same wording, two different sentiments. 10 years from yesterday was wedding day. Yesterday, everybody had weddings. So 10 years from yesterday, the couple is going to look back on their day and they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, can you believe we had Alex from NOTA DJ Services?" Right? Or they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, can you remember? Do you believe we had Alex from NOTA DJ Services?" Same sentence.
Yep.
Two totally different sentiments.
Yep.
And that's how you should approach as a wedding professional from the DJ side. Well, really from any vendor. They can be remembered in that way. Yeah. But you want to go in with that attitude because like you've said a couple times during this conversation, it is about the couple. It is about their day. It is all about them. It has nothing to do with your taste of music. It has nothing to do with your state of mind. It has everything to do with their big day. And as long as you can focus in on that, you're going to have a successful night, and they're going to have an amazing memory to look back on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what a lot of people forget. A lot of vendors forget. It's like, oh, I'm a big shot in the DJ or photographer. Just be you. Focus on the couple. It's their day. It's not yours. Just make sure that they're happy.
Right. I love it. I got one question for you. My favorite question to ask everybody at kind of the end of stuff. I know you've got a long drive home, so I don't want to keep you any longer. And I know as DJs we could probably talk till sunset. But my question is this, and this is something that kind of I think helps couples in the long run. Is let's say there's a couple that wants to book you. Okay, let's say the fourth daughter, right, of that family wants to book you. They absolutely want you, but you are completely booked solid on that day. You cannot help in any way. So you're not losing any money by turning down this booking. But what do you tell a client that really, really wants you? What do you tell them to look for in another DJ service?
Pretty much the commitment to them. Make sure that they listen to you. Make sure that they have your best interest first. There's a few other DJs that I like to recommend. Obviously everyone that's at Orchestra's Free Wedding. Those are my first go-to. If for some reason there's nobody around the area, I tell them, hey, try this guy, try this person. But if they're not available, first of all, ask them, hey, what's your style? What do you think about our ideas? How do you approach this? how do you approach a wedding, and go from there, and then just ask questions, hey, what would you do if this happened, and those are kind of like the questions that I ask them, because I want them to have the best night that they can possibly have. Unfortunately, if I'm not going to be available, I want them to have somebody at the same level, if not above my level, all the time, and I know that our prices are not very low. They're not very high. They're right in the middle. But, there's some amazing DJs that they charge a lot more than what I do. And I told them to try them. Maybe they're a best fit for you. But no, those are the things that I ask them to look for, and make sure that they committed to the craft, that they're committed to their service, and that they're committed to the couple.
That's a great answer. Absolutely. And it's just because I'm an idiot, and we alluded to it at the beginning of the conversation, and I meant to focus in on it. You are unique in the sense that you are 100% bilingual.
Yes.
So you can do Latino weddings. Do you have some time just to explain a little bit about that? If somebody is looking for that style, or a specific, like a bilingual DJ, what kind of questions should they ask? I mean, other than the obvious, do you speak the language?
So first and foremost, do you understand the culture? Like what I talk about, the different regions in Mexico, and having that connection between the Hispanic culture and the American culture. How do you connect those two? I had a wedding, a bilingual wedding, and funny story that the groom was dancing with one of the bride's aunt, and I started my set and play some cumbias, play some banda. Then I moved to merengue. Then I moved to pop, and then I went back to hip hop. So I did a whole set, and the groom came over, and then he's like, "Hey, I gotta tell you something." Like, yeah, I was dancing with one of my wife's aunt, and then she's like, we were dancing, and she said, "That is the longest song ever."
The magic of beat mixing.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, because we were dancing cumbias, and then you change it and all this stuff. And then I told him, like, no, he just played like 4 different genres, 4 different songs, and mixed them all together. And she's like, "Oh my God, that was cool."
I've had that happen before too, and that's one of the things, like from the mixing side, and especially being a club guy, one of the main reasons that beat mixing really came into play, particularly in the clubs, is that people just naturally, if you don't know what beat mixing is, it's blending the beats per minute of the song together. So it's a very seamless transition. So there's never a dip in the volume. And your dance floor, if you allow that dip, everybody automatically thinks, song's over, I should go get a drink. Song's over, I should leave the dance floor. And that's where that dip comes from. What beat mixing does, if done by someone who really knows what they're doing, first of all, it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I mean, the reason for it is it keeps them on the dance floor, because it keeps that style, or that beat within the same kind of steady range. You don't get that drop off on the volume between songs, and you can still, if you really know what you're doing, you can adjust even the rate of the song. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this without confusing people, but you can go from 125 beats per minute. So if you go at this speed, and you could move your dance floor up to a faster speed without them ever knowing that you've changed songs, unless they know the difference in the songs. Is that a clear way to explain it? Go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I will highly suggest for people like looking for a bilingual. Make sure that they know the culture, and that they understand it. That's the other big thing, because like in my case, I never play breakup songs. During a wedding, I never play "Okay, I'm gonna cheat on you" type of songs or stuff like that, And like in the Hispanic culture, there are a lot of songs that they have a lot of sexual innuendos. They have a lot of lyrics that speak to that. So if somebody that is not completely immersed or understands the culture, they might just play those type of songs. And if that's what you want to hear, hey, more power to you.
Sure.
But
But if you've got control of the playlist.
yeah. So that will be one of the biggest thing for a bilingual DJ. You know, making sure that they understand. You know, hey, if you're from Puerto Rico, if you're from El Salvador, if you're from Mexico, especially Mexico, what part of Mexico? You know, it's just because they say okay, it's Mexico. Okay, I know what I'm gonna play because I know Mexican music. I know Despacito. I'm just kidding, but. But it is a huge wide range. It's a wide range of music. I'm part of different groups online that they talk about. Okay, you need to short or small your music. I can't because the bachata. You have bachata, you have reggaeton, you have cumbia, you have banda, you have salsa, you have cumbia sonidera. You have so many different genres that you cannot just say, okay, I'm just gonna grab the bangers from each genre. You can't. Like in the Hispanic culture, you have to have almost every single song that has ever been recorded because you never know when you're gonna have that kind of crowd. And like in my case, I always carry with me all my music and hopefully I have the song that they requested, so that way I can provide that to the guest.
Hey, we just really wanted to thank Alex from NOTA DJ Service for coming all the way up to us when you could be easily driving home by now. And we really appreciate your time, man. I mean, it's an honor to actually meet you face to face. It really is.
Thank you. Same here. I had a blast. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to be part of this family, our stress-free wedding family, and just super excited to meet you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, man. Hey, coming up next show, this is kind of cool. So Alex is from kind of northwestern Iowa, right?
Yes.
This time we are going southeastern corner. We're going to be talking to It's Electric Entertainment, which is really kind of neat because we are going two totally different spectrums of the state. They are a different DJ service. They are also certified event and wedding planners.
Yep.
So they have a whole different service, and they just recently acquired or launched a transportation service called Black Tie Transportation, the limousine service on top of it. So a whole new direction of things to go. That's coming up for episode 12, which will be awesome as we get into our double digits. It's going to be hard to keep track.
I know.
I can count. I'm going to add new hands.
Take your shoes off.
As always, hey, if you like the show, what do you do?
Like and subscribe.
That's the best way to do it. You can find us at ourstressfreewedding.com or ultimateentertainment.cc. Just go to the podcast. That's all you got to do. You can find all the information you need right there. We are always thankful for you watching, and you have a stress-free day.